San Francisco. It calls to me, San Francisco. I gotta be back in Frisco, beside the sea, up and down. Chinatown, New York's pace, Chicago's grace, great towns, but they can't replace the razzmatazz, Alcatraz, and all that jazz. Telegraph Hill, it fits the bill. Cable cars thrill, they thrill me still. Golden Gate Bridge, the bog rolling in. So if you find the need to explore all your dreams, look to San Francisco, my favorite town. Look to San Francisco, my favorite town.
Welcome to Great Chefs of San Francisco, a culinary guided tour with chefs from some of the finest restaurants in the Bay Area. This time from Berkeley, Santa Fe Bar and Grill and chef co-owner Jeremiah Tower. He is one of the city's most interviewed cooking personalities and has, among others, become synonymous with trendy California cuisine. Born in America, Chef Tower grew up in Europe and Australia, tagging along with his father, a businessman whose travels exposed Jeremiah to great food. He moved back to the U.S. and studied architecture at Harvard. Then, on the way to Hawaii, he made a fateful stopover in San Francisco. It introduced him to Alice Waters and her famed restaurant, Chez Panisse in Berkeley. Thus began a chefing career that has been sensational, if not orthodox.
I was down to my last, about $15. And someone said, a friend of mine, because they'd taken me to lunch at Chez Panisse, which was almost a year old at that time, sort of neighborhood cafe. And they said they were looking for a chef. So I hopped on the next bus, called Chez Panisse. I didn't know anybody there. And arrived there at 6 o'clock one evening. Walked into the kitchen and said, "Hi, I'm Jeremiah Tower, and I'm here for an interview." And they said, "Get the hell out." By that time, Alice had come down from upstairs. And she said, "Well, hello, how are you?" And I was telling her, "Fix the soup." So I tasted the soup, and it was the biggest pot of soup I've ever seen in my life. Tasted it, and it needed salt. I put some salt in. It was a little thin, so I put in some cream and stirred it all around, put a little pepper in. Maybe in those days I used to put white wine in soup, so I put in some white wine probably. And they tasted the soup and thought it was a miracle, and I got the job as chef.
Santa Fe Bar and Grill has become a hit in the Bay Area, as have two other operations that Chef Tower has run since leaving Chez Panisse. The menu for this program not only reflects Jeremiah Tower's cooking instincts, but capsulates the whole California movement.
This variation on a raspberry theme combines the delicious California figs with berries, sour cream, and brown sugar.
An old-fashioned Russian dessert with a difference with fresh California figs, because it's what's on hand at this season. So you just take a platter and put on some very slightly thinned down sour cream so that it just covers but isn't lumpy like that. So you see the texture. The old Russian dessert was just a gratin, meaning put under a flame, of the raspberries with sour cream and brown sugar. So our variation here is to put figs on it. Figs and raspberries go very well together, especially figs with a little raspberry puree.
This dish, in fact the entire menu, suggests a definitive shift in emphasis in American restaurant cooking and probably crystallizes the dominant thrust of so-called California cookery. It's the philosophy that puts at least as much emphasis on acquisition of fresh, high-quality product as on preparation. In San Francisco, Jeremiah Tower and Alice Waters were among the forefront of the movement.
And one day, Alice and I were talking about the various supplies. I mean, there was Garrapatta Trout Farm had started up in Big Sur. A friend of Alice's was raising geese in Sebastopol. Monterey prawns. I'd finally found a connection. I'd hired a driver, leased a car, that is, and hired a driver to go down to Monterey twice a week and pick up fish and that kind of thing. So we were really searching out for, and people were bringing in, just beginning to bring in, oh, I found some chanterelle. I mean, I think Chez Panisse must have been the first restaurant since before the war to serve fresh chanterelles, because this amazing couple who lived in Berkeley, who brought in chanterelle one evening in a basket and said, if you take these chanterelle, can we swap them for dinners? Then there was a man who brought in mussels in exchange for dinners, salmon from the boats, and we bought everything, anything that came in the door that was wonderful. And I started bringing in live trout in a big tank. We'd fill up all the sinks in the kitchen, put compressors in all of them, and all night long there were trout flopping all over the floor.
San Francisco, it calls to me, San Francisco. I gotta be back in Frisco, beside the sea, up and down. Chinatown, New York's pace, Chicago's grace, great towns, but they can't replace Florence, Mataz, Alcatraz, and all that jazz. Telegraph Hill, it fits the bill, cable cars thrill, they thrill me still. Go